Hello, welcome to our video. Today we're going to learn about the law of cosines. Now to start it off, we have another non-right triangle, uh, like we have here. And say we wanted to find x. So if we wanted to use the law of sines, like we used in our previous video, we'd do sine of 50 over x, and then sine of something else over 13, sine of something else over 21. So what it would look like is this, assuming that's a and b. And we can't just solve this because there's a variable in each part of this. So we need something else. Now what we need is this thing called the law of cosines. The law of cosines, if we leave off this backside, it's really just Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. However, this is Pythagorean theorem for a non-right triangle. So there's this little business here that we have to subtract away when it's not a right triangle. And for that, we call it the law of cosines. There is a proof on where this comes from. However, that involves some trigonometry that you guys haven't quite learned yet. So let's not worry necessarily where it comes from. If you want to know individually, let me know and I can explain it one-on-one. All right, so how to use this? You only use the law of cosines. Well, there's two circumstances actually. We use the law of cosines mostly to find a side in a side angle side situation. So if we have this, um, our angle 50 is our big C. So our little c here is the side opposite to it. Now that's very important. So little c is always opposite big C. And A and B can be in any order. So when we fill this in, we have 13 and 21. All of this, because it's, think of order of operations, all of these are just multiplied together. Actually, what I would do is I would put just, if you have a TI calculator, I would just put this whole mess in your calculator all at once, and then you'll have x squared equals some value. And then when you square root it, you should get the answer of 16.09. All right. Now, let's try this one. We have a side angle side situation, so that means we use the law of cosines. The law of sines is a little easier typically, so it's nice if we can use the law of sines, but we can't here. So we'll say c squared is equal to, our a's and b's can go in any order, so I'm going to say 10 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 10 times 4 times the cosine of the angle in between, which is 105. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my calculator and just put that all in. 10 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 10 times 4 times cosine of 105. And when I do so, I get c squared is equal to 136.7. About. I should have a little squiggly line here. Um, Now, uh, that's not this length. Every year on a test, I get a length like 136. And you got to understand that that's c squared. So if I want to find c, I square root that, and I should get about 11.7. All right, now we're going to move to finding an angle. So if I want to find an angle, I can use that same equation. Now our little c is just this side over here. So now I'm going to say 4 squared. Now these could go in any order. We can go 6 squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times 6 times 6 times the cosine of our angle in between, which is x. Now this is a little bit harder. A lot of people mess up with this algebra, so let's simplify what we can. First, we have 16. Here we have 36 plus 36, which is 72, minus, here we have 6 times 6 times 2, which is 72, cosine of x. Now, if you forget about order of operations, you can think you can subtract these, but you're wrong because multiplication comes first. So these are attached before we can deal with these. So we can't solve that quite yet. We need to subtract 72 on both sides. So 16 minus 72 is, what is that? Negative 56 is equal to negative 72 cosine of x. Now our last step, or second to last step I should say, is divide by negative 72. And a negative divided by a negative will be a positive. So I can just, I'm just going to leave it 56 over 72. Now if I want to find that value, I just take the inverse cosine of 56 divided by 72. And I get an angle x equals 38.9 degrees. Awesome. Now we know how to find angles. And hopefully that's enough to get you through your assignment. Good luck.